Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Michael Levan. Thank you so much for joining me today. And what we're going to be doing is taking a first look at Harness.io. And if you're not familiar with Harness.io, it's essentially a CI/CD platform that you can use to build and ship code for both infrastructure engineers and developers. So this can ship infrastructure code like Terraform, and then it can also ship application code like Go and Python, things like that. So I'm here at the startup page, and the first thing that I want to take a look at is number one, we can see here that we could sign up for free. But one of the things that I want to do is I just want to quickly show the pricing here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on pricing. And if you scroll down, you have a few options. So number one, you have continuous delivery, you have continuous integration, and as you can see, it's powered by Drone. You have feature flags that are coming soon, which is really cool. This is a huge thing in the DevOps space right now. Feature flags are really popping up all over the place. So if you have an interest in it, definitely feel free to take a look and Google this. And then finally, cloud management costs. And again, this is coming soon. I imagine that this is going to help a ton of people, especially because, as I'm sure everybody knows, cloud costs can get out of hand. I remember I've had a few $600, $700, $800 bills in my AWS and Azure environments just in my labs. So one more thing that I want to do here is I want to click on products. And as you can see, these are pretty much all the products that we've went through. But one of the things that I do want to point out about Harness is essentially started out as a continuous delivery tool. Now we can see that it's definitely expanding a ton. And that's really, really cool to see because I do believe that Harness is a pretty solid platform. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on sign up, and as we can see and get ship done, that's a funny pun there, we can go ahead and we can sign up a few different ways. We can use Azure, we can use our Gmail, we could use LinkedIn, GitLab, Bitbucket, or GitHub. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use GitHub. And then as you can see, it wants to access my account, my admin turned DevOps GitHub organization. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on authorize. And as we can see here, it's being directed to the authorized application. So you may be wondering why I use GitHub. Well, for me, I store all of my code in GitHub, so it kind of makes sense to be able to authorize through GitHub. But again, you could use LinkedIn, you could use Azure, Gmail, whatever you feel comfortable with. As you can see, we have a few options here to essentially get started. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on continuous integration, for example, and then I'll click continue. So as you can see, I could start a 14-day trial if I want to. I don't, it's perfectly fine. I really do enjoy the UI here. Even if I click on home, for example, I'm not just stuck in builds. I can use feature flags and cloud costs. I can go to the dashboard here, and I could see and set up a bunch of different dashboards if I want to. So I'm not just stuck using CI, I can use other things as well. But all in all, the dashboard, the home page, everything is very, very clean on this platform. It's definitely an easy to use UI. And I do believe, just playing around with Harness, that it's definitely set up to make your life in the CI/CD space a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on builds, create a project. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to name this project Python test. I can choose a color. I do like blue, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose light blue. And then the organization, I'll keep that as default. We can go ahead and we can give this a description. Test build with Python code. And then we could say tags. Say dev. We'll go ahead and we'll keep dev as the tag for the environment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click save and continue. And as we can see, the project has been created successfully. One of the cool things that we can do right off the bat is we can also invite collaborators. If you have anybody on your team that also wants to play around with Harness, you absolutely can do that here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click save and continue. And then as we can see, we have our dashboard here. So our dashboard shows the build health, successful builds, failed builds, active builds. Of course, we're not going to really see anything here all that much because we haven't actually done anything yet. So if I click on builds here, I'll see that I have no builds in my current project. And if I click on run a pipeline, we can see that, again, we have no pipeline. So if you go ahead and you click on pipelines, you can create a new pipeline. So we'll go ahead and we'll give this a name, Python test. And we'll go ahead and we'll click start. Now, one of the things that I really love about Harness, and we're not seeing this too much in other platforms, it's available, but it's definitely being phased out. You have a visual perspective or you have a YAML perspective. Now, if you feel more comfortable from a code perspective, you can edit the build pipeline using YAML, or you can choose visual. So for example, I can go ahead and I can click add stage. And in this stage here, I can do custom, chained pipelines, approval, or build. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click build here. And I'll give this stage a name, I'll call it dev. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have to choose a connector. Now the connector is gonna be where your code is located. So whatever code you're building is where you wanna choose for your connector. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click new connector. I'm gonna choose GitHub because that's where my code is. I'll go ahead and give this a name, GitHub connector. Then I'll go ahead and I'll click continue. So now at this point, I can go ahead and I can authenticate. So this authentication, I can do either a URL type or a repository. And then the connection type, I can do HTTP or SSH. I'll go ahead and do account. I'll do HTTP. And now I need my GitHub URL. So let me go ahead and get that. Okay. And then the repository display name, as you can see, enter the full URL for a repo in your org. So I'll go ahead and I'll go to repositories and I'll choose PyWeb. I'll click on that. I'll get that URL here and then I'll click continue. So now at this point, I need to be able to authenticate with my username and my password. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in my username here. And then I need to pass in my access token. So go ahead and create a personal access token from your GitHub. And then you can go ahead and you can add it in to Harness. And to do that, I'm going to click on create or select a secret. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this a name. I'll add in my value here and I'll click save. And now we have our GitHub connection connector here. So now we could choose a repository name we want. We can choose PyWeb. And then I can click setup stage. Oop, got to give this a stage name again. And at this point, I've set up my CI build. I called it dev, that's the stage. And what it's going to be doing is it's going to be building the code in my PyWeb repository. And with that, that's how you can get started setting up a build process in Harness. Thank you so much for watching.